Okay, getting got started, right? So before going to, a perform testing or before going to tool, right? So first we need to understand what is a web application. Okay. So web application, like suppose, so what do you have idea on web application?
Web application mostly like it's like 3-tier architecture.
What exactly it is?
You have to like access the application through the browser.
Okay, that's okay, but what is technical? Exactly what is
It's
happening?
a part like the application can be accessed through internet is called a web application.
Right. Suppose suppose there is some code or some application is there which you want to access by everyone in the world. So then they will deploy in the web application kind of different server so that anyone can access it. Okay.
Correct.
So so in our IT, right, we have like mainly 2 to 3 types of applications. One is like web, okay, and one is a desktop, okay, and one is the APIs. Correct.
Yeah.
So irrespective of whatever the case, the backend is common is for the API. Without API, those applications won't work.
So when you say API, right, what exactly for you is API? API is nothing. Web services is not API.
No, didn't get you. Could you please repeat?
When you say API, right, application programming interface, right? But exactly does that means API represents what?
That's what I will tell you now. So we have these 3 types of applications. So we have 3 types of applications because of based on user availability, based on the application code, we have decided this one. Okay. So irrespective of all these things, API will be common. Now what is the API? So if you click on Facebook and browser, or if you click on Gmail, or if you make some payment on PhonePe or Google Pay, if you do some bank transfer, whatever you do, right, you are getting the data from server to on your screen.
Correct.
Irrespective of where you are, irrespective of where is server you are, whenever you click on hit balance, when you click on transfer, whenever you do get the image, when you do buy the product, everything will be in the front of your machine. So the data is coming from some server to your client, whenever you request it. Right? So that is happening with the API. So in your world, right, in the entire IT world, if something is happening or some data is able to see from somewhere to somewhere means the backend is the API. API is the where they will communicate with the client and server and they will transfer the data between them. Okay, let's say this is the client. Client is nothing but your browser. Right? Your Chrome browser, whatever. Let's take a server. Let's take this is a FB. So when you hit login or when you hit the home page, right, the first view you will do your home page. So when you hit the home page, browser will make a call to the server. Okay, that we call a request. So once the request is proper and authenticated everything, right, then server will give a response. That's we call response. Okay, so this whole set is called the API. Whenever you hit one API means it has a request and has a response. Okay. For each flow, each page, there could be APIs based on how developer has written it.
Okay.
Okay. So APIs could be like web services, or there could be a REST API. In the API, we have subtypes. REST, WebSockets. This is also called web services as well. Okay, and so these are the generally these 3 types. Okay. Okay. So if you take a banking application, right, they mostly will go with the SOAP because SOAP has security. Okay. Suppose if you are hitting any chat application, if you open WhatsApp or if you open a Facebook Messenger in a browser, they will go with the WebSockets. or if it's simple data transfer, I mean, they want to load it in a quicker way, then they'll do the rest.
Yeah.
Okay. Irrespective of application, irrespective of data, these are the common, and API is the basic. Wherever you hit, whenever, whatever you do, right, everything is dependent on the API. Okay. So API is a two parts, again having request and response. This could be API for one login, or some, suppose if the login there is some 4 to 5 functionalities there, right? So developer may write one API for all 5 functions, or he may write 5 different API for 5 functions. That's how developer is dependent on developer.
Correct.
Okay. So now, why we are considering the API directly? We have front end is there, we have DBs is there, correct? Why we are talking directly about the request? I mean, APIs, correct? If you open a facebook.com, I mean, browser, right? Something images are there, everything is there, you know? So this is not API, this is UI. It has libraries, it has images, it has like different functions, everything on the is completely on the client side. Okay. So why you're talking about this one? Because the perform testing, irrespective of what are the application, will concentrate mostly on the server side. Whenever we do some project, some performance, right? First you concentrate on server side, because if server is able to achieve the load, or if server is not able to achieve load, and what type of error server is getting, first we have to figure it out. Because server is common for all the users. Then we will get out. What about client side? Client side is also important, but that is a second priority. Why that is second priority? Because if you are eating suppose you are AI user, okay, you are sitting in the New York and you are having high speed and you are high browser, high laptop. So the client doesn't matter, because you are very good. Suppose take let's B person who is in a remote location which has very poor internet and using a very low configuration of RAM. So he might face little bit extra issues with the client side. Right. But irrespective of the location of A and B, the server is same. Okay. So first thing we have to concentrate on the server side performance, then we go to the client side. Okay. Now let's okay. Okay. So now let's take about the why we need to concentrate it. Okay. So let's take again the client. I'm in our browser and we have server. Now let's take the time is now 8:01. Okay, 8:01 AM. And you hit the Facebook API, I mean Facebook homepage. And you got the response back at 8:03 AM. Okay, so if someone asks what is the response time of your home page, and what you will say?
So the elapsed time is like 2 seconds.
Yeah, 2 seconds, because you hit the 8:01 and you got a 8:03. Correct. But so that's okay. That's why 2 seconds. Okay, but what is happening? Why it is taking 2 seconds? And where we need to figure it out? If the client is expecting 1 second as a home page, okay. So now we need debug, right? So first we need to know why we are at 2 seconds. Then we'll get to know which component is taking higher. Then we have to rewrite the code, or we need to do some things so that we should get 1 second. Correct. So before all those things, we should know what is response time consists of.
Yeah.
Okay. Suppose let's say if you hit the login, right, or home page at T1, I mean 8:01, and this request will go to server at T2. Assume that. Okay. And server will process whether it's good or not, everything is proper or not. Then it will process and it starts response back at client to T3. and after traveling to internet or somewhere, then you'll get the T4.
Yeah.
Okay. So now whatever mentioned response time, right? That is the T4 minus T1, correct?
Or T1 plus T2 plus T3 plus T4.
No. You are saying about 8-1, 8-3, 8-4 like that. This is 8-1. Let's take this 8-2 and 8-3 and 8-4. So now 4 minus 1, right?
Yeah.
So that's why we can't say T1, T2 like that. We can do T4 minus T1. Okay. So now, what is server processing time here? Server processing is T3 minus
T2.
Okay. And if you have very good internet, I mean, if there is no latency, very high speed, and you are located near the server, suppose server is in US region and you are also from US region. So then you might say very good response time. Whereas if server in the US and if I'm accessing from India, right, I mean, it's a little bit latency extra.
Correct.
That latency is decided by the T3 minus T4 from server to client. Okay. So these three will help us to reduce the response time. I mean, if you want better response time, these three should be required. If you are good server, right? If you're a good server and you have everything properly and you written the APIs or you written the code, I mean, optimization mode. I mean, without calling extra codes, extra calls, right? You made simply, then this will be faster. This section. Correct. So, and if this section is faster and if your internet is also fast, then you will get a response immediately. Assume that if you are written the server is in a poor level. I mean, suppose instead of using 2 class files, right, you are using 10 class files. Assume that you are a new developer, okay, and you have like very less idea on the so, but you develop somewhat. So what you will do, obviously, it will be a very like big code, right? Because we don't have, we don't know the main tricks or the like optimization.
Correct.
Okay. So same way than internet. So if internet, I mean latency. So if you're good internet and you're sitting to near the server, then your T3 minus T4 will be better.
Yeah.
So if someone says how to increase the response time or how to how to decrease the response in a better way, then you have to think about this side and this side.
Yeah.
Right. So irrespective of wherever you go, which application you're doing, right, first we should know the architecture of that application.
Correct.
What is what and how it is going. Suppose we are making a bank transaction, right, and you're getting the response back. Transaction. What is happening in backend? Exactly which component is talking to, whether it has a load balancer is there or traffic manager is there or is an extra third party server is there. Whatever the architecture you should know. That's the first basic thing, irrespective of any performance testing tool, any performance testing application. Okay. Now we have clear idea on the API and response time, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So now we'll discuss about another topic. So I'm a little bit faster. Is it okay?
Yeah. Fine. Yeah. That's fine.
Okay. So let's go to next one. This is the response time. Okay. So now you understand, okay, internet should be proper here, server should be there. Okay. So assume that you are good with a good internet connection. You are using 100 Mbps speed. So obviously there is no latency issues. Correct. So we have to rule out this T3 minus T4. So, but now you have to talk about server processing time, the T2 minus T3. So how we will resolve that? So that will resolve with the help of throughput. Okay, what is throughput? Throughput is nothing but a server capacity. What is server capacity? Let's
How
take
many?
Yeah, how many requests it may handle per second or per minute. Right. So if you go to the petrol one,
Yeah.
you have 3 petrol fill stations. Right?
Yeah.
So if 3 persons come in, right? 1, 2, 3. So each one will go to here and here, and ever I mean, there is no wait time, correct?
Hmm.
No wait time is there, and in a minute, everyone can fill.
Yeah.
So in 1 minute, one user can fill it.
Hmm.
Okay. Now, assume that you have only one person and 3 times. So what is it? It's same, right? 1 minute, one user.
Yeah.
This is the two person, same thing. 3 persons, same thing. Because it has a capacity and it has a less than that load.
Hmm.
Okay, now let's say 6 persons came. So then these 3 has to wait, right? 4, 5, 6 has to wait.
Hmm.
Because your server capacity is only 3 people at a time.
Hmm.
So this other 3 has to wait.
Yeah.
So this will help us define in the throughput. Same in the server also. If your server capacity is like how many requests it is handling in a minute. This is a unit. Request in a second. Let's take second. This is called TPS, transactions per second. Okay. So if you multiply into 60, you will get a TPM.
Hmm.
Transaction per minute. So let's say I'll tell you a proper example. Let's take A server. Sorry. The pen. Okay, let's take a server. A server is a very low RAM, low capacity. And B is
Your voice is breaking.
hello.
Your voice is slow.
Okay. So
Yeah,
is it
now
clear
better.
now?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So let's take a 3 servers, A, B, and C. Right?
Hmm.
A is the low capacity, B is the medium capacity, C is high capacity. So now how I'm saying the capacity? So there should be some definition, some measurement. To know whether
Your voice is some like scattering, like on and off, on and off.
let me check internet.
Now,
Is there.
internet there. Maybe your speaker is something.
So I'm just front of laptop only.
Now it's better. Yeah.
Okay, that's better. Right? Okay, it's clear now.
It's clear. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, so we have let's take 3 servers, which is a low capacity, which is medium capacity, high capacity. Okay, so how we will define this capacity? There could be some measurement, right? With some number,
Correct.
right? Yeah. So that is like this will handle 100 requests in a second. And this will handle 500 requests per second. And this will handle 1000 requests. So what does it mean? It means if we send 100 requests to A server, right? For all 100 requests, the response will be 1 second.
Okay.
Because it is capacity. And same as if I send 500 to B, the response time is 1 second. Same as if send 1000 to C, the response time is 1 second.
Yeah.
Correct. So now let's see. If I send 2000 requests to A server.
Yeah.
So what is my response time?
2000 divided by 3600.
1000, 20 seconds. Correct. See, it is handling 100 requests per second. So I sent 2000 requests.
Yeah.
So 20 seconds, correct?
20 seconds. Yeah.
Same thing, if I send 2000 to B server, my response time will be
40 seconds.
4.
500 into 4. Correct.
Yeah, 4 again.
Yeah.
Same. If I send the 2000 request to C, then my response time is 2
1
seconds.
second. This is 2000 seconds. Yeah.
Correct. So if you observe, the C capacity C, which is having a higher number of requests, so it's giving 2 second response time. And whereas compared to A, it's giving 20 seconds. So server processing time should be also, I mean, we should also think about that point as well. If you want to higher configuration, you want better response time, you have to increase server capacity.
Yeah.
Okay. Assume that your application is like a normal application, where a limited number of users. And the highest, I mean, the peak time, in the peak time, the highest load is 500 requests. The highest peak time. So which one will prefer now?
I will go with the option C.
No, right? No, we'll go with C because C is the costly. But you don't require. See, highest is 500 requests per second. It's because it means at any point of the time there is no more load than the 500 requests.
But peak hour it will be like 500. Okay, yeah, we'll go with B.
Because you have to think about costly, right? Because infra will be higher.
Yeah.
So we are unnecessarily we can't spend on the infra. That's why we go with the B. Okay. So this will also, I mean, this total concept we call the capacity called throughput.
But if you'll go with B, then the user has to compromise with the response time.
No, right? You will get 1 second only, na 500 requests.
Oh yeah, that 4 second of I got confused. Yeah. That
Okay.
we process with 2000 requests. Right?
Right. So for 500, you will get only 1 second. That's the max. And from our analysis from the logs, right? When we got to know that in the peak time, the maximum load is 500 requests. In the normal time, it will be like 200, 300 only. So obviously, we'll go to B.
Yeah.
So we have to think about the situation as well. Mostly what is the peak time load and what is the normal time load.
Yeah.
So based on that, we can. So this will help us with throughput.
Yeah.
So your response time and throughput are inversely proportional.
Lesser the response time, more is the throughput.
Correct. See, the higher the throughput is, the lower the response time.
Higher
See,
throughput,
higher
lower
the throughput, I mean, the more capacity, your response will be very less because it is very faster.
Yeah.
Right. So now, why we are telling, I mean, why we are discussing this is because assume that there is no performance monitoring tool. In some cases, or in a small project, right? Maybe client is not asking to budget, or you have to go with open source tools. In some cases, then we have to figure it out on our own. The basic analysis. So then this response time and throughput will help us to give the data. So we'll compare manual, right? We'll check, okay, for 100 users, what is the data? For 200 users, what is the data? For 500, what is the data? So based on this data, we need to do some information. Okay. So the response time is varying. The client is saying, right? In that way, we have to find out.
Correct.
Right. So that's how we should know the basics of response time and throughput. So especially in JMeter, right? These two will be constantly.
Okay.
Okay. Right. So now we know how IT application works. Okay, and the response time and throughput. Okay. So now let's go to we compare, right? Web, desktop. So what is the difference between web and desktop?
Web we discussed like with the internet, right? Desktop means the application needs to be installed in the same machine.
So web means we can access from the browsers.
Yes.
Okay. So if you take any tool, right? I mean the JMeter or LoadRunner or Neoload, right? So if it is web application, it's easy to track it or record it. Because this tool can access the browser, and whatever you do in the browser, that it will be recorded or logged into the tools so that they can use their script. Okay, whereas desktop, no, it is a exe files. So we need some more settings to connect to desktop application so that we can capture the traffic.
Okay.
Respect to whatever the case, right? We need to capture the APIs.
Okay.
Okay, so let's take an example. Okay, let's take the Amazon. Okay, so when I hit Amazon, right, I got this home page. So what is happening on the back end? If I click on inspect, right, you know, right, inspect network, and if you go to network tab here and close all this unnecessary things. So if you do this one, so you can see all the APIs. Suppose if I click on customer service, see, it is loading all these APIs. So what is happening? Whatever you see in the UI, right? It's nothing but from API data. You see, suppose this is one of the API of image. Let's take preview. So this is one Fant image.
Yeah.
Take this one. This is one testing. So UI is nothing but it's like a handling all the data from the APIs and put in a one place using the help of HTML or any JavaScript libraries. So that's why if you put a load on the UI itself, the load will go to the APIs only. Correct?
Correct.
So that's why we have to ignore the UI and we'll directly put the load on the APIs.
Okay.
That's why we'll talk about the APIs part and we'll talk about more how to capture the APIs.
But there is, I have one question, right? When we say, so suppose for an example, take login TPS, suppose 400 requests per minute, for an example, I'm saying. So when you click on load runner or like Geometry, any tool you take, so you have to process 400 requests, 400 logins in a minute. So now the thing is, in the throughput or like you can see when multiple requests are getting populated, right? Multiple hits are going to 214 to the server. So they are like, it is going to be more, right? So at that time, only the transaction controller can help us to say like, okay, this much of request logins can happen. But at the same time, when we see the hits per second, it is going to be more, which is TPS per second is going to be more. So that's how the TPS things is getting contradicted when it's come to UI. In a web service, in a single call, it's when it's a simple GET request or POST request, straightforward, it's okay. But how you define it in a UI-based application, the TPS?
Right. So you mentioned login page, right? So we need to figure out how many APIs we like ready to for the login. If it's single API call, then it's a direct transaction. But assume that login, it is making some other calls to get the user value data, to get the profile data.
If you see here, if you see this current one, the thousands of calls are there, right?
Right.
So the transaction per second here will be more, a lot.
Obviously, because it do parallel, so it is getting like a lot of calls.
Yeah. Then at that time, this TPS part is getting blocked, right? We cannot say to the user, okay, when he did a login, the TPS is exactly this one, because it is going to be a lot.
Right, yes.
So there only we can, based on the, like, if we put it in a transaction controller, then probably we can say, okay, 1 minute we were able to log in this much of time and this is the transaction we did. But this TPS concept, there it is going to be fail, right?
Yes, it will be there, correct. Okay. So yeah, that's for the TPS, but that's why we are concentrating only on the APIs instead of UI. Because what UI will do, UI will also call the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So we skipping UI because we want to know for server performance. So then we'll have a different tools for the client side performance where we'll do that. Okay. So then now if you check here, this is like kind of different. This image is a different data, right? So if you check for each and every image, this is called request URL.
Okay.
Okay, and this we call response. I mean, here is a different type, that's why we call response. Right? And
Yeah.
apart from the request, we had different things. It's called method. It should get, post, put, delete, option. There are total 7 methods.
Okay.
Okay. So we should be know all 7 methods as well. So your get is get doing. Post is for updating. Post is for creating. Put is for updating. Delete for deleting.
Mm.
Okay. And apart from this 4, we have other more called options.
Mm.
Option nothing but the client will, server will decide whether which should be there.
Okay.
Okay, that's for the options. Like head is will just retrieve the metadata of the API.
Mm.
Suppose if I do get user on, right, it will get all the user on details.
Correct.
But if instead of get, if I put a head, right, then it will give the return the metadata.
Mm.
Okay, options, head, and one more is there. Forget it. Okay, now, and apart from that, we'll have a request body and request headers.
Mm-hmm.
These headers are very, very important. Without these headers, we can't do the scripting. I mean, the scripting, that part is important. Why? And what is important of headers? So headers are nothing but, see, if a server is always fixed, correct? Facebook.com and Amazon. But your client is different. You could use a Firefox, you could use a Chrome, or you could use a tool, or you could use JMeter, you could use Neoload, or what are clients will different.
Correct.
So how these two will communicate each other? See,
So
if I'm, whatever I'm talking, your understanding means we are talking in a common language.
Correct.
The same way, this client and server should also in sync, right? And they should understand. So while sending the data, client will send all this data to server saying that I am from this. If you see here, they're called one more called this user agent. User is nothing but client is telling to server that I am sending request from this area.
Correct.
And I want these details. I want these things. So then server will respond based on this address and it will work.
Correct.
Okay. So that's why requesting headers are important.
Yeah.
Correct. Right. Same way, request data. So this is get request that doesn't have it. There could be something for post. If you see this post one, okay, there is no data. Okay, so this is a post or other request. You have data as well. Request data. Okay, right. So once you send all this thing to server, then server response will come in the form of a status code.
Yeah.
Status code nothing but to communication again. Client should understand what is happening. So if I see manual, I can see it's green, I got a response, but the client doesn't know, right? So UI has to validate based on the status codes. So we have a different type of status codes there. 2 series, 3 series, 4 series, 5 series.
Yeah.
Okay. 2 series nothing but success information.
Yeah.
3 series nothing but redirection. 301, 302. 4 series nothing but client side errors. I mean, whatever sending from the client side, whatever sending, right? If there is a mistake from a request, or you miss some header, you miss some failure, so then you get a 4 series errors, like 404 not found, 419 headers missed, 401 unauthorized.
Correct.
And 5 series is server side errors. If server is, because it went to server and server is not able to handle, like 503 internal server error. All these errors are 5 series.
Yeah, correct.
Okay. And same way, response also, body. Response body will be there, response address also will be there, like this. So these, all these parts will help us to make a API, and we'll write a script of top of all these APIs and we'll put a load test.
Correct.
Okay. It's clear right now, you know, API and basics of the metrics.
Correct.
Okay. Right. So we'll stop for today.
Okay.
Okay, let me stop recording.